Okay, KKK, trying this again. Trying this again. All right, so while I'm killing time before my guest hops on and joins me, I'm just going to give a brief overview of what we are doing today. I am meeting with, oh, there you are. How you doing, bro? Let me add you. Killing time. Killing time.
What's going on, bro?
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm over here at the studio today, coaching them up.
Hell yeah, that's what we like to hear.
Yeah, all day.
Love that. Love that. So it's like, what is that, like Monday through Friday kind of thing, or?
7 days a week, bro. 7 days a week. Some days are a little bit less packed, but nah, man, I'm at it every
I
day.
love that.
Just making sure everyone stays accountable, you know.
That's what it's all about at the end of the day, you know?
It
How
is.
long
It
have you
is. I
been
think that's
immersed?
our whole industry.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. How long have you been immersed in the world?
Man, I started strength training at 13 with my football coach. My football coach was my strength training coach. Like we had gym. I mean, we had weight room instead of gym. And I just always loved it. I was helping people back then. And I went to college for accounting, something like totally different from what I'm doing now. But ultimately, like even while I was in college, I began like training people on the side. And then I decided to leave my accounting firm and around like 2018. And shortly after that, I was coaching full time, and just been running with it ever since. And my business just started picking up steam.
Love that. Love that. Tell me
Yeah,
about your business.
yeah. So I'm a personal trainer. I'm a coach. I do online training as well as in person. Right now, I have like up to 30 in person clients, which is like my bread and butter. But I love online training too. Definitely touch more people. It's just I feel like after COVID, a lot of the online dropped off, to the degree that it was. But it's definitely a great place in order to like, find people for like buying programs or things like that. But I think that's the part of the market that, I'm ready to break into next. But for right now, just, my online business is one small piece in comparison to the in-person. And like just the networks I've been able to build with my in-person clients, it's been very cool.
Love that. Love that, bro. How long have you been competing for?
I started competing.
Uh,
Really, this is my second year
Same.
in competition. Yeah, I uh I was playing semi-pro football, and once I was like getting ready to turn 30, I'm just like, all right, like NFL players are like retiring at this age. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I got to do something a little different, but I still needed that high level competition and also want to train at a high level. So, and people have been telling me or asking me if I'm a bodybuilder, if I'm on steroids, like my whole life. So it just felt like a
Yeah,
very
you got a
natural
great physique, man.
progression. Yo,
Yeah,
thank you, bro.
yeah.
Thank you,
Fantastic
bro.
physique, bro.
And
Um, yeah, you said that acting.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tell me about
So
that.
that was the biggest key to me leaving my firm. I just knew that I was going to need time away from the firm in order to be on set and actually live out my dream. And if that time ever came, I didn't want to even have to make the decision to like put the firm on the back burner. And I actually like the people I was working with. You know what I mean? So rather than to like do them, I guess, kind of dirty in a sense, because with accounting, you have a lot of deliverables. So like if you drop the ball in your timing, like you're messing up potentially like the the um the feedback for an entire company for X amount of time. We've had people that just leave and like don't tell anyone that they're not coming back and
Mhm.
like completely blows up the engagement or whatever. But just out of respect for what I was doing, I was like, I'm gonna try and figure out another way. And I just started acting full time. And from working with a theater coach to doing background work to eventually doing productions in the theater and eventually working on set, whether that be like television or like movie sets and doing stunt work and just continuing to see how my acting career is blossoming. And this year, I'm expecting to make my debut on the ID network. I'm going to be on a show called Evil Lives Here. So
All right.
that's a huge development for me, and just kind of goes along with everything I'm doing. Like I'm just applying pressure constantly, and just you're bound to break through. You know what I mean when you're doing that. So.
100%. 100%. Where are you
Yeah.
located?
I'm in New Jersey. New Jersey.
Oh
I'm like
shit.
on the border. Yeah, I'm on the border of like New Jersey, New York.
Is that where you're from?
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm Jersey homegrown.
Same. Yeah, me
Oh,
too.
I broke up a little bit. Oh yeah, okay, dope. Oh, where you
Yeah.
from?
Mount Holly is where I was raised. I was
Okay,
born in
okay,
Springfield.
okay, okay. Yeah,
How about
yeah, yeah,
you?
yeah. Wow. I was born in I was born in like Livingston,
Okay.
but I grew up in Rahway and in Cranford. And now I'm up in Palisades Park. My
Okay.
studio's in Fort Lee, so I got like a 7 minute commute to work. Like just enjoying the small things, but still working hard.
How
Um,
far are you from New York?
I'm like 20 minutes,
Okay.
20 minutes from Manhattan.
Okay. Okay. So I'm guessing you're close to like Hoboken and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm decently close. Hoboken's probably like 30,
Okay.
but yeah,
Okay.
still pretty close.
Okay. So when you act, are you traveling into the city or are you keeping it local?
Yeah, I'm usually traveling into the city, but a lot of things are now in Jersey now. Like
Awesome.
a lot being held in Jersey.
Yeah, no, I actually heard that Hollywood is kind of spreading out outside of just Los Angeles and is like kind of branching out into different places.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm actually very excited to assist with that migration and
Word.
start focusing on actors who aren't just primarily located in Los Angeles, but more so actors, content creators across the country, and then scale up into the world. So the idea is that you can be anywhere and still consider yourself an actor. You don't have to be in a centralized location.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. No, 100%.
yeah,
I mean, in New Jersey, they're building a huge studio for Netflix.
yep.
The Lionsgate studio is coming right to Newark, New Jersey. So yeah,
That's
there's a
huge.
lot. There's a lot
That's
to
huge.
be had out here. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's incredibly exciting. How long have you been into acting?
man, I've been in acting. So I was a fitness model
Oh, really?
before I was an actor. Yeah,
Okay.
I was a fitness model, and that's when I knew that I had like talents outside of my accounting degree. And but I didn't want to just be a model, like I wanted to have a voice. And that's when I started to take those acting courses. So really since 2018, so about 7 years now, man.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So and you said 7 years. Let's go back to wanting to have a voice. Talk to me more about your voice.
Word,
Yeah.
word. For me, my reason for a lot of what I'm doing is to become that role model for young men in particular who don't have role models, who maybe didn't grow up with their father or even have someone strong around them to represent, what it's supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's a big part of what the voice is for me, not just, you know, the expression in the moment, as an actor, but after I'm done with being on set and like people are learning about who I am as a person and being able to make a bigger impact than, any movie or, film that I'm in.
I see. I see. So what you're saying is, it's like you part of your brand is that of an actor, and that's like visibility. You're promoting yourself and your likeness. People are watching your movies, and then as they develop a connection with you through the character, they learn more about who you are behind the scenes and find out that you're a really dope person, and they see that you're killing it in life, and then they're like, "Oh shit, I want to know."
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Like some of my biggest role models were actors growing up, you know what I mean? Like, and it's easy to point to someone like a Denzel, you know what I mean, who literally like on screen and off screen portrays, you know, the type of character, the type of, masculinity that, can help someone and, improve their life if they apply, some of the principles that he champions. And that's definitely what I want to the kind of impact I want to leave on the world.
That makes a lot of sense. Are there any current role models, let's say between ages of 30 and 50, that you can point to across any industry, that you identify as like, man, that person's a great role model?
Um, I guess for me, I um I love economics. So I don't know if you're familiar with Earn Your Leisure, but the guy that spearheads it, his name is Ian Dunlap, and he's an investor, and he's like really teaching the game of investing. And with their platform, they're giving everything away pretty much for free. You can like opt in and subscribe, but the amount of information that they're giving, like that's pretty much directly in line with like the kind of impact that I would want to have. And that's just in the financial sphere, but there's a lot that goes into, this life that we're living.
Okay, all right, all right. So Ian Dunlap, is there anyone else that comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, I would definitely throw in someone like The Rock. Like his work ethic is unmatched, and obviously he's one of the like highest grossing actors.
I think
You know?
he is. I think he's
Yeah,
definitively.
yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
So it's just like when you're looking at that, it's just like there's a blueprint, there's a template. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Behind the success. So, success leaves clues. That's one of my favorite quotes. Just gotta keep following along.
All right, let's talk about The Rock for a second. All right, so how much of a fan of you are you with WWE?
I wouldn't say I'm a fanatic. I would say that I follow along because it can be interesting. I mean, back in the day, it was even bigger, but like now, I've definitely fallen off from like watching like on a regular basis.
Okay, yeah. Keeping in mind that The Rock got his start in that WWE universe and then branched into Hollywood and became a movie star. Um,
Word.
Obviously, that's like a really cool trajectory for any person who has aspirations of making a impact, leaving a legacy, and going on to be successful in multiple different avenues. Um, is there anything that you would change if you had his career? What would you change?
Mm, a great question. I mean, it's tough. It's tough when you get to, going back and kind of looking at what people have done, and especially want to change something, because a lot of times those mistakes are what eventually leads you to that place that you're trying to get to, and
Mhm.
the lessons you learn while you're making those mistakes is what helps you to, like, compound what you're doing later down the road. So, I wouldn't say that he's made a whole ton of mistakes. There's some movies that people would say that's a bad movie. You know what I mean? But you could argue that, but now he's the highest grossing actor in the world. So
Hmm.
I don't know. Was it a bad movie? Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? So it's all relative, bro.
Yeah, it's definitely relative. Valley saying this dude trains my wife Bernice. One,
Yeah.
Valley, I didn't know you had a wife. For two, who the hell's Bernice?
Yeah, 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 yeah. One of our regulars here, Bernice Burgos, is she's a client of the studio, and she gets after it, man. I mean, she does her share of chatting and socializing, but we try to make sure she really locks in and gets her strength training in on a regular basis. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
no, she's official. She's official, bro. She's official. She's
It's a
official.
small world. It's really a small
Yeah,
world.
yeah.
All right, so going back to the Rock trajectory, I could you break down? Let's start with five, and then go for 10. Uh, what's the best case scenario of where you are 5 years from now? And
5 years
all
from
right,
now.
before you answer, I like to go as big as possible. Like my whole thing is going down in history as the greatest storyteller of all time. But I'm not just interested in telling my story. I'm interested in telling the story of our generation, like humanity's current generation on Earth. I'm looking to tell that story and show how we evolved together collectively through focus, self belief, and imagination. So, taking those three core concepts in mind, I want you to take that time to consider what's the biggest case, best case scenario 5 years from now. What would you like your life to look like?
100%. I always look at things from, standpoint of time and also my age too. But, for me, within within 5 years, like I kind of already have things like mapped out from that standpoint in terms of what I want to accomplish. But really, it's owning multiple homes, whether it be multiple families or a multiple family and something else. Um, just in terms of like assets and whether I'm like owning my own studio or I'm working with uh another studio in a larger capacity. Um, really, really my goal is so when I left my firm, my goal was always to make more than the partners would, which is like 250 on annual plus like whatever bonuses. So that is my goal. You know what I mean? By that 5 year span, like that is my goal. And again, whether that's from opening a studio of my own or an actual gym, that's definitely the plan. And just continuing to network within my network and kind of allowing the people to help me actualize what I'm already doing. And that includes acting as well. Like, within the next 5 years, I would love to have a principal role, whether it be something action related or drama related. Like I feel like that's definitely the direction I'm heading in. Even with like projects that I'm working on now in and potentially your project, like those are my goals, especially for the next 5 years.
Love that.
Um, and just like, you know, even potentially like moving to another state, whether that be like a Florida or something like that. But just finding the area that makes the most sense for me, where like the equity makes the most sense as well. And man, in 10 years feels like an eternity, but it's also like a very short time still. Like it feels like could be tomorrow. But no, in 10 years, by that time, like I really hope that I'm in a position to give other people opportunities and, give other people the game in a way that, I'm able to remove myself from my main business. Like that ultimately is my goal. I mean, hopefully within 10 years, not, at or after 10 years, but, replacing myself inside of my business so that I can grow and scale to other opportunities, as quickly as possible. And to be honest, I'm a I'm somewhat of a chameleon. Like I have a lot of different skills, and you know what I mean? Like I feel like right now my number one skill is sales. Like the operations of, coaching, to me that's way more simple than, getting the sale, getting the client, getting the leads. So, you got your sales, your marketing, your advertising. If you're hitting all three of those, you could be in any business in the world. And, when that's the case, then there's no limit on what your income can be.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm looking at it from that standpoint as well. Like I like coaching, and also it gives me a chance to go act when I need to because, I can have one of our coaches like cover my clients for X amount of time. And you know what I mean? My business continues to flow. But yeah, just really in 10 years, just really like, you know, making carbon copies of myself who can run my business for me to the point where, it's more than one, it's maybe multiples, and then obviously expanding on everything else. My assets, my my investments. And honestly, it's funny. Like everything that I do is for the future at this point. You know what I mean? Which I would hope a lot of people are doing it that way, but not everyone is. But I mean, even on top of that, like I'm really hungry to get my first pro win when it comes to bodybuilding. You know what I mean? So like, you know, I definitely want to see where they go with like all the natural shows that they're starting to include now, because that's a big thing. But it's obviously it's tough to get the same kind of exposure that the guys who are on gear are getting.
We, we,
You know what I
we I,
mean?
I have a solution for that, so you're good on that.
We need all the solutions, bro. But I feel like the sport is growing at a rapid pace again, which is like really dope to see.
Hmm.
Really dope to
Hmm.
see, and it's because influencers now are jumping on board, which is going to be a good thing in the long run, I think, and
Yeah,
hopefully dispel some of the misinformation too.
yeah. Going back to bodybuilding, how long do you see yourself staying in men's physique?
I do see myself crossing over to classic. I got wheels, I just don't really show them. And then, you know what I mean? I've had wheels for a long time. I had legs before I had like any of my upper body for real.
Okay, okay.
So, and that's from football. But I
What's
definitely love men's physique.
okay,
But yeah, eventually I'm definitely gonna be like crossing over to more classic.
okay, okay. And then going back a bit further, you mentioned acting aspirations, principal roles. I'd love to get an idea as to like what principal roles you find yourself most drawn to.
Well, for me, I really want to be in the action sphere, like whether I'm doing stunts or whether I am like the principal, I'm the lead character. Either way, you know what I mean? Like that's a big part of my current plan. And even like my current network is all geared up for that right now.
Okay.
And then also, I love I love the I love all the angles. I love the theatrics of action film. Like that to me, like that's always been what I'm drawn to.
The
So yeah, that's what I'm
theatrics
really a part
angle.
of.
Okay. All right.
Exactly,
So.
because like you're telling the story, but at the same time, like you have to shoot it too.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. So like a man of action, kind of.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All
Almost
right.
like a Michael Jai White. Michael Jai White's one of my dudes too.
You broke up. Say that one more time.
I said like Michael Jai White.
Oh, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay. That's fantastic. Okay.
yeah.
Hmm. Michael John.
100%, bro.
How are you with martial arts?
Martial arts is my first sport. Like that's the first thing I've ever done. And even now, I'm a member of a Muay Thai studio, which is literally like across the plaza from me right now. So like I might go there like once or twice a week and like practice with the owner. And he's a good dude. He is in touch with someone who studied under like Bruce Lee's stunt choreographer. Like so he's got connections to the West Coast and within the stunt community, everything is very tight knit. So like
Mm-hmm.
this guy, like he got a call one day to hop on and do stunt work on the Equalizer, and like the next day he was like doing stunts with Queen Latifah, and like got all of his like his union cards and stuff. So I was just like, can happen very fast, man.
Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. All right. So stunt action. Michael J. White. That's a great reference. Um, Bodybuilding. Okay. 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 Yeah, you come off very grounded. So just to give you some perspective on what it is that I'm working with. So I'm sure you're already familiar with the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah,
Right.
100%.
All right. So within the MCU, you've got like all kinds of different superheroes in different walks of life, different cities, things of that nature. But when a world-ending threat comes in, then the Avengers assemble and they all come together to fight the end of the world, right? One
Yeah,
thing that I feel like the MCU didn't really do too well in comparison to their comic book counterpart is that each superhero, they like, if it's the superhero's movie, they keep it to the stakes that the superhero is typically playing within. For instance, Spider-Man traditionally is considered a street level superhero. Like he's called your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man for a reason because he's only really swinging around Manhattan, right? I
yeah,
don't feel that the MCU like really like achieved that. Instead, it's like whenever they make an MCU movie, the stakes are always end of the world. Whether it's
yeah.
Avengers, Spider Man, Iron Man, the world's about to end, right?
Right,
Um,
right, right.
yeah, so like for me, I'm building what I refer to as the Nattyverse, which is intended to highlight natural athletes and natural people, all being good role models within their specific environments, communities, industries, areas of passion and expertise. So what I'm kind of getting from you is like you come off very grounded, and I understand that you have an intention to be a good role model for. Yeah, let's go with that. Who do you want to be a good role model for?
Well, for me, it's any child or kid who's grown up in like a single parent upbringing, like specifically like single mother upbringing. You know, I feel like the absence of the father is a big deal, and it's often overlooked, and it's led to a lot of breakdowns in society today.
How about you? Like, what was your childhood like?
So for me, and I speak for myself as well, like, and not everyone has the kind of So I was lucky, like the first 10 years of my life, my dad was a major part of it. And I was also raised in the church. So yeah, I had a lot of formative, you know, uh, foundation. But, without that, I don't know where I would be. You know what I mean? And I feel like I've seen a lot of my counterparts who just, they're lacking the knowledge and understanding that it takes to like be a well-rounded man, and it hurts them in the long run too.
May I ask what happened to your father at age 10?
Yeah, well, my parents split up, and my dad moved to Connecticut. My mom stayed in Jersey, and yeah, after that, I just kind of, to me, it was more so of a situation where I knew I was going to be able to like rely on him the way that I had in the past. And I kind of developed my mindset at that point. And it's one of those things where, if you're looking for help after a certain point in time, like no one's coming to save you. You know what I mean? Like you have to be able to save yourself. And you know, there's a lot of handouts nowadays. And I even found like some of my friends who did have their parents growing up and like got everything that they wanted, they never knew how to handle it. And they mishandled it most of the time. And like they ended up, not doing well. So, it's like that nature versus nurture kind of age-old story.
Hmm. Hmm. All right. So if you could share some words of wisdom to the people or the youth that you would like to be a role model for, what words would you share?
Yeah, sure. I guess I would just say that, if you treat every day as a chance to get better, you'll always have opportunity. You know, every single day is a chance to get better, no matter what you're doing. Even if it just means that, you got your sleep today. Like you have an opportunity to improve your life. And I guess secondary to that is that you have to have a plan.
Mm,
Even if the plan doesn't work out the way that you think it will, having a plan and following the steps of the plan, you're practicing for whatever you're going to be doing in the future, and it doesn't matter what you're doing in life. When you have, actionable steps toward executing whatever you want, and, you got a time basis for it, you're gonna achieve more, much more than if, you just had an idea. You thought about it, you tried some things, they didn't really work, and then you just let it go. That's what most people do. They just let it go, and they never fully follow all the way through. And I think that's another big key. Like, you got to be able to stick to it, stick to itiveness. Like, doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're studying, whether you're, practicing for a sport or anything in your life. Like, if you stick to it long enough, you're going to either find that success that you've been looking for, or you're going to get to a point where you've gotten whatever you needed to get from that situation, and you're able to move on at another level. And whatever skills that you've been working on, they usually help you with what you're doing next. You know what I mean? So, and then I guess that the last thing I would say is just to be active. Go do things. You got to go live life. Trying to overthink things and you never actually take action, usually leads to a depressed state of yourself, and you never fully realize what you're supposed to.
that's beautifully said, brother. That's beautifully said. Couldn't agree more with everything that you just said. All right, question for you. So there's like a duality here. You mentioned network. You mentioned the community that you were raised in, so far as the church community. that you grew up in. So, what value or how much emphasis would you place on community, having people in your in as a part of that, in contrast to you know doing it yourself?
Yeah. No, I think the community is everything. And it doesn't matter what you're doing. Having a community makes it that much easier because there are people that have connections that you need. There are people who have made the mistakes that you don't want to make. There's people that are experiencing the success that you want to experience, right? So it's all there for you to learn from if you're willing to tap into it and, talk to people, develop a relationship. And most of the time, people want to help you, depending on whatever your community you're in, they want to help you. They want to see you do well. So that usually breeds opportunity. And then you just have to be ready and able and capable when opportunity presents itself, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, all right. Well, I see you got a good head on your shoulders.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah, no, you're okay. All right, all right. Married, girlfriend?
have a girlfriend. I have
Nice,
a girlfriend.
nice. How's that
Yeah.
going?
It's going well. It's
Nice.
going well.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It's getting there. It's getting there.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. That's good. That's good. We like that. Um,
Yeah.
okay, okay, all right. Well, I guess for me on my end, this whole thing is about community, and the big picture, Nattyverse. We're looking to install heroes and populate the Nattyverse with heroes. All of them being natural. Every single one is a natural athlete or a natural person in whatever field that we are able to highlight. Keeping that in mind, do you have any questions?
I mean, I feel like, as time goes on, we get more from you, but I love the natty verse concept because it is, you know, there's no limit to that and it spans globally. Like you said, that's the reach that you're trying to aim for. And, I consider myself the same. Like, yeah, I'm from New Jersey, born and raised, but like I'm a global citizen. Like, I love to travel. Whenever I travel, like I can easily start to adapt like some of the customs and adapt to the people. You know what I mean? And yeah, I feel like it's a story that needs to be told because, again, for the same reason, like we have like little children now, like, playing with drugs and taking drugs, and they think that they need to do this in order to have success when it comes to the gym or lifting. And it's just not the case.
Yeah, yeah. I very much agree, and yeah, we are definitely aligned with that. Okay, all right. Well, I think we touched everything, and you understand that this is a forever evolving thing, and we are. It does seem like we're on the same page so far as the connection that we've made now, goes on into the future, and it's like then it's just a matter of having proper funding to meet in person and do a
Right.
collaboration in person, and like it just keeps evolving. But basically, the homework or the mission, should you choose to accept it, is to continue expanding your network,
Yeah.
understanding
Yeah.
that you and I together are building the Nattyverse. And the Nattyverse consists of more people like us who are looking to help and contribute and expand. So you're already doing it, so just don't stop what you're doing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
this is the direction that we're all heading in.
Nah, man, it's excellent, and I'm excited. I'm happy to be a part of this, and I'm excited to see you taking up the reins as someone who can produce, something that can change, the thought process and can be a disruptor, so to speak. So it's dope, bro.
Yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
I well, honestly, the biggest reward is getting to I didn't fully understand the value of community until a year ago. The people that I usually had in my corner were not the best type of people. They didn't have any kind of moral foundation in community and stuff like that. So it wasn't instilled in me. And it wasn't until I linked up with Valley Muscle, who I don't know if you're still on this live, but like meeting Valley Muscle and actually forming a community first within the fitness industry with my previous background in filmmaking, storytelling, acting, and all that stuff. And then that's when I saw the beauty of telling a story about community and evolution through coming together and having a shared vision. So it's incredibly gratifying to meet people like you and to be excited to figure out how to like, okay, how do I want to work with Adam moving forward? And
Yeah,
yeah, it like I get a lot of satisfaction out of it.
yeah. That's awesome, bro.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to forwarding it, bro.
Yeah, like more updates to come. And like we're Valley and I are going to be launching an app 4 weeks from now. So depending on how well the app does, my big intention for 2026 is to travel. I want to be having these interactions in person. You know, I want to have a camera crew. Like we're aiming to go into production in 2028 for the show, but to me, pre-production is just the same as production. It's just a smaller budget. So I work with the budget or like the means that I have available to me with the intention to constantly be scaling up to bigger budgets, bigger means, and a bigger network. So yeah, like traveling, whole nine yards. So yeah, we know each other now, and
Yeah,
Jersey, obviously, come on.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, we're good.
All day, bro. It's beautiful.
Love
Honestly,
it.
my mom's family is from Plainfield, so
My dad was the mayor.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
really? Wow.
yeah. He
Okay,
had a
they might know him then. That if I yeah, they might know.
Mark Fury. It's
Okay,
yeah, Mark Fury.
okay. Dope,
Hmm.
bro. Dope, dope,
Cool,
dope.
man.
All
All right, well
right, man.
let's keep in touch.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
All
You
right.
locked in now.
Oh, same. All
Yeah,
right, well,
yeah.
enjoy the rest of your day, and yeah, let's keep it going. Let's keep expanding.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
All right, bro.
All right, take
Take
it
care.
easy.